that's left for us to do at this stage, I think, is to welcome back our keynote speaker, Mr. Geoff Brown, ladies and gentlemen. Geoff Brown from Scripture Union. And Geoff, it lands to you to hold us gently at the end of this day with some wonderful words of stories and whatever you have for us. Are you ready for this? Thank you, Geoff.
Thank you very much. Hopefully you've had a good day. I certainly have. It's been great to be here. I want to end by thinking about what are we going to do with all that we've heard today. And I'd like to suggest that it's going to be about caring for sheep, looking after the flock that we have. It's verses from 1 Peter I want to look at together. And 1 Peter chapter 5, verses 2 and 3 say these things. Care for the flock that God has entrusted to you. Watch over it willingly, not grudgingly. Not for what you will get out of it, but because you are eager to serve God. Don't lord it over the people assigned to your care, but lead them by your own good example. You see, God calls leaders to be shepherds and to care for his sheep. That includes those who are already part of the flock, but also we know God is a missional God, and that includes those who aren't yet part of his family, part of his flock. We know his heart is for the lost, and he wants everyone to experience the love, joy, peace, protection, care that come from following the Good Shepherd. One way of looking at what that looks like in practice for us is to actually look and see what it doesn't look like, if you see what I mean. We do a compare and contrast. So, in the Old Testament, in the book of Ezekiel, we hear about some bad shepherds. And in Ezekiel 34, verses 1 to 5, we hear that they didn't feed the sheep. They didn't care for the flock. They didn't strengthen the weak. They didn't heal the sick. They didn't look after the lame or the injured. They didn't care for them. In fact, they were letting the sheep starve. They didn't bring back the stray. They didn't search for the lost. They only took care of themselves. They ruled with harshness. Not a great picture. But within that, we can see the Lord's heart. We can see that he's concerned for the sheep. What happens to them matters to him. And he's holding his shepherds accountable for what they're doing. So a question for you, so it's a bit of a heavy question, but how are you doing as a shepherd? How are you doing caring for those that God has assigned to you? If that's how not to do it, what do we learn about how we should do it? Well, Jesus himself calls himself the Good Shepherd, and some very, very familiar verses from John chapter 10. Jesus says, I am the Good Shepherd. The Good Shepherd sacrifices his life for the sheep. A hired hand will run when he sees the wolf coming. I am the Good Shepherd. I know my sheep, and they know me. Just as my Father knows me, and I know the Father. So what a contrast. The bad shepherds didn't care for the sheep. The Good Shepherd not only cared for them, but he went all the way and laid down his life for them. The Good Shepherd knows his sheep by name, he calls them, and they follow him. A couple of years ago, this first meant an awful lot to my wife and I. We are part of a church plant, and for many years the youth and children's provision was really good. And about 2 years ago, all those who do the 11 plus work stood down at the same time. For various reasons, some good reasons, some less good, some to do with leadership and things like that. All of a sudden there was nobody to run anything for 11 pluses. And we were absolutely gutted. We were distraught. There had been such good things. Our kids had loved our church, but they felt abandoned. They thought, do they not, my son said, do they not care for us? And it was tragic. And those verses from John chapter 10 were a great comfort to me. I spent many mornings on my knees praying to the Good Shepherd so that he would care for the sheep. And I can let you know that actually God did provide some new people, and the provision for 11 pluses has continued, and we now have a full-time youth workers coordinating that. And it was a really difficult time. but being reminded that Jesus is a good shepherd was such a help to us. So, what about us? What are we being called to do? The first thing we're called to do is to care for the flock. So, from 1 Peter chapter 5. So, to care for the flock. Another question for you, to what extent do you care for those that God has given to you? And I mean really care for those in your Sunday school, your junior church, your youth group, your Friday night drop-in, your after-school club, your lunchtime club in the school. To what extent do you really care for them? And importantly, do they know that you care for them? Do you ask them how their week has been? And then do you remember what they've told you? Do you show an interest in them? It's been said, and I don't know who said it, if you said it, and I'm plagiarising your comment, then I'm sorry, not intentional, but someone said, they won't care what you know until they know that you care. So we might want to teach them fantastic things, fantastic truths, profound things about God and His love for them, but unless they know that we care for them, our words are falling on deaf ears. They need to know that we are interested in them as people. Unlike the bad shepherds, our care should be about nurture, protection, feeding. We long to see them grow as people and as followers of Jesus. And nurture is all about providing the right sort of care in the right quantities at the right time. I don't know if you ever tried to nurture an ill pet or a wilting plant. We had some guinea pigs, and one of them was ill for a while, and we nurtured it. Sadly, it died. But nurture of a sick pet involves the right amount of stroking, medicine, food, water, all at the right time, but in the right quantities. Or whether or not you have a house plant that is past its best. Too much water, too much sunlight, too much fertilizer is in fact going to kill it. So in the same way, those that we are trying to work with, trying to nurture, need the right amount of the right things at the right time in the right quantities. So yes, they need to know that God made them, that God thinks they are incredible, they are loved by Him, that He sacrificed Himself for them. They need to know of His amazing, amazing love. But also they need to know that they and us aren't the finished article yet. We're not finished with. Jesus wants to transform us, wants to change us. He doesn't want to leave us as we are. So they need both. They need the right amount of challenge, encouragement, inspiration at the right time, in the right quantities. But before we move on, did you notice how Peter described the flock? He says, the flock that God has entrusted to you and those assigned to your care. Wow, what a privilege, what a responsibility. The Good Shepherd is considering us as his co-shepherds. He wants to use us as co-shepherds. And he's entrusted some of his sheep to us. So he's taken some of them, it's like he's saying, Geoff, here you go. These are the ones I want you to look after. I'm assigning these ones to your care. Take care of them for me. He's entrusted them to us. He's assigned them to us. I wonder how that makes you feel. I think it's kind of exciting, daunting, challenging, worrying. Probably a bit of all those things, isn't it? What a challenge. Second thing we're told to do is to watch over the flock willingly. So we're not only to nurture them, we are to watch over them. It means knowing what dangers they might face, knowing what their issues are for them, and thinking how we can support them in that, how can we help them with those things. One way of doing this is knowing what they are facing and working out with them what they can do about it. That's one of the reasons why Scripture and my work will produce a book called It's Your Move. In your packs you've got a free copy of the latest edition. That is pretty hot off the press, only just been released. But the reason we produce that is because we recognise that for Year 6s moving to secondary school, it's a big deal. It's a big change. So the idea behind It's Your Move is to make it just that little bit easier. To give them some advice, some support, some help as they make that transition. It can be like they feel like lost sheep. This can be a way of helping, part of our watching out for the flock. So you have a copy in your packs. Why not give that to a year 6 that you know? Or better still, why not give it to your church leader and say, hey, brilliant, we bought this for all the year 6s we know. Or even better, why not give it to head teacher of a local primary school and say, as a church, we would love to buy this for your year 6s. Do take a look at it. Let us know if you're happy for us to do that, and then come and buy them. Philip has got some books on the bookstore this afternoon. Also, you can buy them in the SU shop or somewhere else if you can't get them this afternoon. But do think how you could use It's Your Move as a way of supporting children making that transition. Part of your way of watching over the flock. What about other transition times in their lives? What about when they leave home, perhaps go to college or uni or start a job or apprenticeship? Do you stand with them? How can you help them in that? Do you prepare them for the changes they've got ahead? Obviously you can't go to those places with them, but do you help them think through what it's going to be like? What can you do to support them in that way? But do you notice in that verse had a warning? Peter says that we're to do these things not for we can get out of it, but because we're eager to serve the Lord. So the motivation should be one of service. I hope there are benefits in the things you do. I hope you enjoy your work with children, young people. But it can be challenging. It can be hard. There are times when it would be much easier to stay at home on a Sunday morning or a Friday evening, put your feet up, but actually called to servant leadership. Our attitude should be that of a servant leader. Which brings me on to my next point that Peter makes. We're not to lord it over people. Peter could have lorded it over people. He has apostolic authority. But he doesn't do that. He exemplifies the very things he's commanding to them, to love them, to care for them. And similarly, for us, do we view the children and young people as those precious sheep? Do we care for them rather than lording it over to them, remembering that they are the precious sheep that God has assigned to us? And the final thing that Peter says, we are to lead by our own good example. Now, the stakes have been raised, and if you're beginning to think that, goodness, this is hard work, standards are high, the bar has been raised even higher. He tells us that we're to lead them by our own good example. Like it or not, those we work with will look to us. They want to know what following Jesus looks like. They want to know how Jesus helps us in the hard times. They want to know whether or not following Jesus long term works. Is it worth it? And they'll get those answers, yes, from your words, but by the way that you live. They'll be scrutinising your life, and they can be incredibly perceptive. You won't be able to fool them for very long. They will see through any inconsistencies. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying before we come over children and people, we have to have it all together, we have to have a perfect life. Please don't hear that. That would be misleading, and it's not possible anyway. But, do they see from you a good example of what you do when you mess up? When you get it wrong? When you're short-tempered during a session? Do they see you say sorry? Do they see you asking for forgiveness? Do they see that grace is a huge part of your life and your discipleship? Do they see you receiving grace from Jesus and then giving grace to other people? I'd like to end in two areas where our example is so important. The first one is our own involvement in mission. Do those you work with, do they see a passion in you to share Jesus with other people? At Scripture Union, we are passionate about reaching what we call the 95. The 95% of children and young people who aren't in church. That's what we're about. We are totally committed to that. We want to reach the 95. One way of doing that, there are many, many ways. One way I'm involved with is equipping young people to be missional in school, to try to share their faith with their friends, recognising that is really, really difficult for some young people, for most young people. So we produced a resource called Shine in Schools. I know here in Sheffield we have something else called Shine, but this is a resource that we've produced. And the basic format is some free downloadable videos, week 1, week 2, with that aim that in the 3rd week they'll do something that will be something they can invite their friends to. So it could be something very small or something much larger. But the idea is they're inspired in the first few weeks and then do something in the 3rd week. We've been running this for a couple of years, we've been running online for longer. And if I'm honest, it's had a very slow start. We haven't had the uptake that we perhaps would have wanted. And I think one of the reasons for that is I think some young people don't have examples of adults in their lives who are doing this stuff on a regular basis. They don't have adults who are sharing their faith at work, at home or in their leisure or with their families. So they don't have examples of people who are doing that. So my challenge to us is, do the young people, children we're working with, do they see that in us? Do they realise, I can be doing this, I should be doing it, this is how I could do it? As part of Shine in schools this year, I had a great opportunity to work with a group of Christians in a school, and for their 3rd week they wanted to do watch a short video that we made, retelling the story of the prodigal son, and then they wanted to do a grill Christian session. So that was basically grill me, and they stuck all the questions in the box, and then I attempted to answer them in a very short space of time. Most of those who were there were Christians, but the advantage for them was actually they could hear me grappling with the questions, helping them think through what the answers could be, not giving pat answers, but actually some of the questions where the word kind of straightforward answers, they were encouraged to see, oh yeah, I could do that, I could tell my friends that, I could ask my friends those questions. So they were encouraged by seeing that actually this can be done. Final point then is the example of ourselves. Are we being nurtured by the shepherd? We've thought about an awful lot of stuff today about giving out to other people, about being missional, about sharing things. And my final point is a point for all of us, something closer to home. Life can be hard. We all face challenges, we all face things that are difficult. We get injured, we get hurt, and maybe we even stray away from the shepherd, from the good shepherd who loves us and cares for us. Perhaps we stray away. My question to you is, are you resting in the love of the good shepherd? Are you trusting yourself to him? Are you allowing him to nurture you through the difficult times of life? Do you make time to be with him? Do you make time to listen to his words of encouragement, comfort, support? All of our circumstances are different. All of the time we have available is different. All of our times available. Those with young families will know that the idea of quiet and time and space in their home often non-existent or very hard to find. But it is important that we find and make the time and space to be with the Good Shepherd. Why? Because it's an example to those that we work with. If we're not doing it, how can we expect them to want to engage with the Good Shepherd as well? If we do, they'll notice that our lives are different. We will have stories to share of God's work in our lives that aren't decades old. Things that have happened to us recently. We'll be able to say to them, when I was reading the Bible this week, God showed me ... We'll be able to say to them, when I was struggling this week with ... Jesus helped me by... You can fill in the gaps. They will see that our discipleship is real, is making a difference to our lives. And what a fantastic example that will be to them. We'll be following Peter's instruction to lead by example. So back to my original question. What are you going to do with what you've heard today? I think we can sum it up with these words. Care for the flock that God has entrusted to you. That's what he wants us to all be involved in, no matter what role we have, whether we're in senior leadership or just starting out on our involvement with children and young people. That is something we can all do. We can care for the flock that God has entrusted to